All right, welcome to the book club. I'm Dylan, here with a man that also aspires to talk pretty one day. Keith, what's up, buddy?
I was going to say this was going to be the name of our podcast initially, and then we realized it was a book name, so we changed it.
Here at the Buddy Book Club, we're working on some bestsellers, and this week we'll be discussing Me Talk Pretty One Day by David Sedaris. If you'd like to recommend a book for us to read or reach out to us in any past episodes, you can visit our website, buddybookclub.com, or slide into our DMs on X or Instagram. That's Buddy Book Club Podcast. Listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, where you get your podcast. Please download, subscribe. 5-star reviews are great. Please and thanks. Keith, 4.01 on Goodreads, just over the 4.0 mark. I don't know if I necessarily trust Goodreads for a book like this. What do you think?
Yeah, well, comedy I think is different for everyone. What was it, like Old School got like a 10% when it came out?
Grandma's Boy has like the biggest disparity on
Rotten Tomato variants.
Yeah, Rotten Tomato variants.
Read the blog.
Yeah. I guess we don't read... Well, I mean, it'll be part of my stock up, stock down, so I'm not going to get too far into it. But we don't read a lot of comedies or whatnot. And I know that in terms of... If someone was to ask me like what comedy books or whatnot I would recommend or have read, I don't know what I would say. Can you think about any funny books that you've read that you're like, oh, this is in the realm of comedy and I'm laughing?
I never really laugh out loud at books.
No. So this is Sedaris's, I think it's his second or third essays. He had Naked for essay collections, Naked in 1997, Holidays on Ice. I don't know if I've ever heard of that one. And then Me Talk Pretty One Day. So probably one of his more famous ones. I know When You're Engulfed in Flames was pretty big too. But yeah, David Sedaris. Let's get into some stock up, stock down. Keith, what do you have for stock up for Me Talk Pretty One Day?
Judging people, stock up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. My dad always said, let he without sin cast the first stone.
Did he?
He's not very religious, but I think that's the one thing he took from the Bible. So, but that just means like closet isn't clean. You shouldn't be like, shitting on other people. You know what I mean?
I don't think you need to explain. What
I didn't know people knew what that saying was.
He
says it all the time, so I just assume everyone knew it. And I'd drop it once in a while, and people would be like, "What the fuck did you just say?" I was like, "Yeah, and you know what that is."
Yeah.
Anyways, a lot of stones were being cast in this book.
Yeah.
A lot of stones. I mean, he's absolutely ripping his parents, just absolutely destroying them. His siblings, his teachers, his friends. Little people, I won't say the word he's saying, not in 2026. Americans, French, artsy people, non-artsy people, sports fans, himself, a lot.
Himself too.
So everyone's getting judged in this book, which, and I think the big thing, and this is probably like the first thing I want to make sure I get out there, is like the audiobook, I really don't think does this book a lot of justice because his tone on the stories that he's reading to a crowd, this book is significantly funnier. I don't know if you thought the same thing. Uh-huh. But when he's reading to the crowd, he's so much more animated, and the tone changes dramatically. On the audiobook, he's like the first two chapters especially, I was like, this is depressing as fuck. He's really sullen and depressed. He's like talking about having a slur, but he's not doing it in a self-deprecating way. He's doing it in almost lisp, like, or at least the audio. Oh, what did I say? Slur. No, yeah, lisp, yeah. And then like the live reading, he'd be like, the thing about my father is he loved to talk about music. Like that's how he'd say the line.
Yeah.
And then in the audiobook, he'd be like, my father insisted we only listen to his music. He forced us to sit down and would grow angry if we did not appreciate it. But like if you read that like that, his dad beats him?
It seemed like the ones that weren't live, he was doing the audiobook. Like he was just reading the audiobook. And the live ones, it seemed like he was telling the story.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I was gonna say my first. Oh, are you done with your stock up?
Oh, one thing actually, that pickpocket story, judging people, that was made up, right? That wasn't real. That was too. It was too much.
Yeah, that's the one. It was funny. I was gonna say that at some point, but that's the one when he's in France and they think he's a pickpocket, and Hugh comes on and they're like, "Oh, that's his accomplice right there."
Yeah. It went this whole like extravagant story, and then they're like, and then I didn't confront the guy, and I was like, that's it? That was the story? What the hell?
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, well, I'll talk about that too. But my first stock up was the Walkman, and he references the Walkman in one of his stories. I can't remember which one it was, but basically saying he was learning French in France and started getting like French learning tapes, whatever they're called, learn on tape for his Walkman. And he was anti-Walkman, but also then was able to put the Walkman in and found it to be a super enjoyable way to move around a city because people aren't really into. I mean, nowadays it's hilarious because this is everyone, right? Everyone's got
yeah.
earbuds in, but no one's going to ask you for directions if you got headphones in necessarily in the 90s. But one, I loved my OG Walkman. Big fan. I had the arm strap and everything.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Because I was like, I'm going to go running. I was like 12. I was like, I'm going to run before
You're a psychopath
baseball
yourself,
season.
apparently.
And I was like,
yeah,
no.
that's crazy.
Didn't end up doing that, really. I'd jog for like 100 feet. And I was like, what the hell am I doing?
yeah.
But it also opens up a whole new world, which is what happens to him, right? He's like able to learn French and walk at the same time, which is why we are always, talking about the virtues of audiobooks. I was actually thinking about this as I was listening to 1984, which is the next book we're doing. And it's the part where he gets the book from the guy, and it's basically just an entire really long chapter of the guy reading what society is. It's kind of boring, honestly. It's not the story. It's like the part of, I don't know if you've read Moby Dick, but there's a period in Moby Dick where he just talks about whales. It just becomes a whale
Respect. I like it.
Almanac. The right whale is this, and it has these characteristics. The sperm whale is like, it goes on for an hour. And so I was doing yard work at that time during Moby Dick, and I thoroughly enjoyed it because I was doing yard work. I said, I don't care. I'm going to learn about the right whale and the sperm whale right now. And similarly with learning French or enjoying a part of 1984 that might not be the most, enjoyable part of that book. So yeah, stuck up to the Walkman because it brought us, the Walkman walked so the iPod could run and so that our iPhones could sprint and we would always just look at them and consume social media and such things like that. Make ourselves dumber. But yeah.
The Walkman really is the only thing that really placed this book in the 2090s. I feel like it wasn't, other than that, the stories could have been taking place today. I feel like most of them.
I don't know about that. He's talking about writing letters to people, and he seems really like when you go to France.
Emails, whatever.
Yeah, when you go to France, he also talks about hating the internet and not really knowing what the internet was, but then getting on the internet, and it was like cake farts or something. I don't remember what the website was, but it was something along those lines.
What's the issue? What's the issue?
And he's basically everyone's asking what should we do, and the answer, just like Seinfeld, the answer is let's go to the movies. So. Yeah, it very much dates itself in the 90s.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. I've also been watching Seinfeld religiously, so I'm like, yeah, what's wrong with this?
Good for you, yeah. What else do you have for Stock Up?
Stock Up Slaughterhouse 5.
Oh.
You'd mentioned books that were somewhat comedic. I think Slaughterhouse 5 by Kurt Vonnegut, which we did on the pod.
I was literally about to say never read it.
Do you not remember what
I don't remember shit, I guess. I got to check that out.
Well, it's funny because we get done with the pod and you'll be like, oh, you should probably edit this or just say, I remember saying this. And I was like, I don't remember talking at the pod. I don't even remember one thing I said. I don't remember what you said. I like listened to the edit and I'll like laugh and I'm like, I don't remember this at all. So
there you go.
Yeah, it's good.
Then you have short-term memery loss or short-term amnesia.
Well, I black out when I'm public speaking. Yeah, okay. That's the difference. Yeah, I get a call with a client and I just speak and then I get done and I'm like, so, what did we talk about again? I don't remember. But anyways, Slaughterhouse 5, it's a stock up because if you describe this book, it's a cynical look at the world using dark humor and then random rants and ramblings, I guess, in a book. And that's what Slaughterhouse 5 kind of really was. But the difference between this and Slaughterhouse 5 is everything's draped in anti-war. So there's like a theme around it. So you're kind of laughing, kind of joking, and it's like kind of dark humor, but you're also like, oh, I see what he's trying to get across a little bit. And like, he's not forcing down your throat. It's just kind of like the realities of things. I'm not really sure what the message of this book was. I mean, at certain times I felt bad for him. Other times I hated him. Other times I liked him. I thought other times it was funny. Other times it was corny. It was just a weird combination of what was going on. I couldn't really get a grasp on anything. The way I described it, I had a few ways to describe it.
Go on.
First was like, to me, it was like a Bohemian Bill Simmons writing.
Okay. I get it. Yeah, but not enough like Sopranos references or definitely basketball references or The Wire.
Yeah, he's pulling in like artsy references, which I'm like, all right. And then, which is probably why like I didn't understand it as much. I also think this is like a show or there's a book for like people that like the show Frasier, where I'm more of like, this is like a high class comedy where I'm like a gritty, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, low class person. Sure. You know what I mean? Like that's the difference is like, that's why it doesn't resonate with me as much. But anyways, I'll just say Slaughterhouse 5, I think did what he was trying to do better. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, it's an interesting take because it makes me think about was he trying to do something? Or was he just sharing his thoughts, putting his thoughts on paper? You know, someone journaling, realizing their journals are funny, and then, or someone else reading their journals being, this is funny, like, this is a funny story, you should publish it. When someone's like, that's absurd. I'm sure he is, considering he grew up in a like situation where his sister's famous. You know, Amy Sedaris is an actress and comedian. I'm sure there is an interest in him to be in the spotlight. So, you know, embellishing stories, or he's a good writer, so he's using that. But is he? You know, I'm just wondering if there's a general purpose for the whole thing, or if it just happens to be a collection of different essays that he wrote, and there's not necessarily like a central theme or whatnot that goes through it. Because the first half is kind of like his childhood and his family, and then the second half is all France and stuff happening in France. So I'm just wondering, I'd wonder, I'm sure he probably has an interview somewhere, if he's like trying to say anything in these or not. Obviously, he's trying to say like how odd and uncomfortable it was to, you know, be a gay boy in Raleigh, North Carolina growing up, and how uncomfortable that was, clearly. Yeah. And growing up with a lisp was uncomfortable and confusing for people around him, I guess.
Maybe I guess because he's touching on such real world things. Though the chapters, like, I think I enjoyed the non sequitur about animals they had growing up, and I was like, oh, that's kind of funny. Like, it was a funny chapter. There's no point to it.
I also, by the way, did not know euthanasia was how it was spelled. I thought it was. I honestly thought it was spelled euthanasia. Oh, really? Not into my 30s, but into my teens.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 100%. That's everyone. That's fine. Okay. Yeah, cool. I agree with that. Cool. Yeah. I mean, you're talking to the guy that thought archive. Wait, what's it? Archive. Spelled archive.
That's just because 007 GoldenEye. You read the level wrong.
Oh, that is. Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that. Yeah, all right. Nice. Thanks for backing me. You didn't back me in the day when I said it.
No, of course. I'm an asshole. Yeah. I had to make a big show of it. Say, hey, everyone know that.
Hey, this guy's a phony.
Yeah, exactly. My next stock up is those guava candies you get at Asian restaurants on the way out. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Mints?
No, they're like,
I don't know about guava candies.
Yeah, they're in a little green wrapper. If you go to the right Asian restaurant, they're phenomenal. They really are. And why they're so good is because they're sweet, they're a little sour, but they're just a total palate cleanser. If you go in there and you just hit the buffet hard and you're coming out, you're feeling that sesame oil just right on your lips, that chow mein slapped up in there. You have one of those and it just cleans your palate. And this was what this book, that's what this book felt like for me. We've just been, on all over the place, really, but for the most part, staying in our zones with fantasy stuff and then some crappy thrillers. And this is so out of the blue, this book, that I really enjoyed it in that sense. That it's 5 hours long. It's a 5-hour long audiobook. It's a bunch of different short stories. Yeah, like, they're funny. They're cynical. They're not like laugh out loud funny. I didn't, I agree with you there. It wasn't like I was, yucking it up, but they were enjoyable. I like the way he writes. I like the way he talks. So for a 5-hour slip in, it was great. Was I also reading Lord of the Rings at the same time? Maybe, but that's none of anyone's business.
Okay. All right.
Did you have any other stock ups?
No.
Couple quick ones. Well, I already said going to the movies is a stock up because it's all they talk about. He's like, we go to France and he just wants to go to the movies. And I miss it. I honestly do. We were chatting on the side about Project Hail Mary. We did an episode on it. We're like, we should go see the movie and do an ep on the movie. And I just wanted to go to the movie, honestly. Like, I want to take the wife. I want to go to the movie. I want to sit. I want to have some popcorn. I don't do that enough. The last movie I saw in theaters was the Dungeons and Dragons movie. It was like 4 years ago. Yeah. Terrible.
Wow.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah,
it's bad.
You gotta cleanse your palate from that.
Absolutely.
I feel like
that movie wasn't bad.
I feel like every Nolan movie you got to go to the theaters for. I feel like
I know
that.
I know.
So like the new one coming out, I feel like you got to go. The Project Hail Mary, it sounds like is a theater movie also.
Oh, the Odyssey. I'm definitely gonna see that.
Yeah.
Project Hail Mary, same way. Definitely seems like a theater movie.
All right, we got to see that. I'm gonna try this weekend to nail it down.
I'm going away this weekend, but probably next weekend or next week. Gotta find a sitter. That's the problem. Another stock up, meth. Talking about having a sitter, meth.
Oh, I had stock down.
Oh, why? He's so productive. I mean, it's not really that. It's not channeled productivity, but it was funny. I thought that was a funny story just in general of him and his art friends doing a bunch of meth and trying to come up with crazy art situations in New York City.
And then he's like, the next chapter, he's like, and then I'm a teacher. I was like, wait, what happened to the meth addiction?
Yeah. I wanted to know how he got
over that.
I wanted to know how he got out of that hole because, having that handy seems pretty dangerous. His dad was funny in that one too. I think his dad's probably the best character. Granted, it's not like a character thing. He's a real person. They were supposedly going to adapt this to a film. And It had a director to it. It had a script, like a writer-director. It had who David Sedaris approved of. It had a script. And then supposedly he talked with his sister and pulled the plug on the whole thing because he wasn't sure how they were going to portray his family. And I thought, but how have you portrayed your family? Right. Like, he portrayed his family, not specifically his dad, just like not in the best light. I think it's kind of hilarious. Like, he's a guy I'd want to hang out with.
Well, remember how he described his other sister, not the famous ones? He's like, yeah, my dad always hated all the other sisters. They're all ugly and fat. I was like, what the hell? And then, I was like, that really shitting on your dad. But then I'm also like, if you're reading it and you're the other sister, it's like, that's what dad thought of me? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what the hell?
Oh, they knew. Until
that chapter, he seemed just like a typical dad. He's like, oh, listen to this music. And he's like pissed that he wants his son to get into the same music that he's into. He's just trying to bond with his son.
Well, you know my last stock up was fat suits because of that situation with the story and his sister. I thought that's the funniest. That wasn't laugh out loud funny, but in terms of me picturing someone coming back from Thanksgiving or something like that and just wearing a fat suit, but it's theater, movie quality fat suit, and convincing their parents they gained a ton of weight is actually hilarious. It should be an Eddie Murphy movie or something.
I also don't think his dad's wrong being like, yo, you gained a lot of weight.
If you came back with a fat suit,
yeah.
Obviously where he's coming from isn't from the right place. It's from vanity.
But that's what's it, hearsay. He's like he thinks it's from vanity. It could be like he's like, I want you to live a long life. I want grandchildren. I want all these things, and he's portraying it incorrectly. So I didn't care for it.
You should come home with a fat suit. I think you should.
You just mean I just going to New Orleans and eating a couple beignets, and I did that, so we're fine.
Did you go to Café Du Monde?
No, I was going to go at the airport, but I waited in line, the TSA line, for 4 hours.
No,
so
you didn't.
No, luckily I actually cut the line because two of my buddies who waited in the line for over 4 hours were still in line when I showed up. And I literally just swooped in, and I was like, wow, I cut the whole line, and then I waited in line for 2 hours.
And no one said anything when you cut the line. I would be.
Well, they were like, hey, Keith, come in here. I mean, people were doing that because people were going to the bathroom. Because you're in line for literally 4 hours. Yeah,
so you're just standing for 4 hours.
Oh yeah, it was rugged.
Stock down.
Insane.
Yeah. That is wild. I see it on the news, and I'm like, okay.
That's what I thought.
I'm like, maybe not, because I flew. I went to Detroit, and there was, granted, it was Boston to Detroit, but there was no one there.
Sunday was really,
there was no one there. And I couldn't imagine. You got kids, you got old people.
Oh, my God.
Holy smoke. 4 hours. Holy shit.
Yeah. That was minimum. They missed their flight. I think they showed up 3 hours early. They missed their flight. They had to rebook it until later. So they stayed in. Imagine waiting in line for 4.5 hours. It was over 4 hours for them, and then finally getting in. And they had to pay like a $700 transfer fee, all these other things. And then still flying up super late. Yeah, so brutal.
Yikes.
But
we'll talk about that for 1984.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
So
no more stock ups for you. Stock downs. What do you got?
Well, I'll just finish the crystal meth one because I had to stock down on that. That was mostly for this podcast's sakes, because the effects of crystal meth are that you ramble on about nothingness for hours straight, going to wild conspiracy theories with people around you just nodding and being like, oh, okay, and just letting you talk. That's what this podcast is. So imagine me, or maybe I'm on crystal meth. I just don't know it because that's all I do. So I was like, wow, that would suck if I was on that. Imagine me 100x what I'm doing currently. So
out of all the drugs, I feel like that's the least interesting one in my mind.
Yeah, is it just speed? Are they different?
Well, it's got to be extra. I have no idea, but it's I've seen it portrayed on film, and it doesn't sound that fun. No. The other ones I could probably get into in the right situation. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're talking like morphine here, not heroin or something like that. But you just want to zonk out. Sure.
Just watch Requiem for a Dream and no one would do drugs again.
That was one that the wife recently was like, well, maybe not that recently, but she said, I want to watch Requiem for a Dream. I was like, you might have to do that alone. I think that's one of those movies that's a one and done for me.
Oh, yeah. The soundtrack's money. Soundtrack's great. I mean, the 2008 Celtics used that song for their intro. It was fucking awesome.
That's true. They did.
Yeah.
Brought me right back to it. Ass. My first stock down, telling the whole truth, nothing but the truth. So help you God. Stock down.
Okay.
So the haters, and maybe you're a hater, will say that parts, if not entire stories, Sedaris writes, are made up. And what do I have to say to that? Who cares? Honestly, who cares? I think that he writes it in a way, except I will kind of agree with you, the pickpocket one. I was like, this seems fake. But the rest of them, he writes in a way that doesn't feel like they're contrived. So if it's a ruse, then I'm happy to believe it because it was an enjoyable ride. It's not an autobiography of someone that's super important. You know what I mean? That is saying one thing happened that didn't happen. That's changing history. This is him talking about a couple of Texans who he saw on a train in France and thought he was a pickpocket and talking out loud about how smelly everyone was. So, whatever. If it gets a laugh, that's part of a joke. I mean, that's half of Norm Macdonald's like bits are him telling just completely fabricated stories that are blatantly, obviously fabricated, but hilarious. So,
well, I will say that if his stories were, I mean, the whole Americans are dumb and French are mean cliches is like, all right, we've heard this before. So if it's completely out of left field, I think it would be funnier. But that's the pickpocket one stands out because it's such a cliche things. And it's like, well, that sounds made up and now it's cliche. So it's like not even, it's double dosage, I would say. But other than that, I think, all the other ones where I'm 100% fine embellishing one. Like the little person one, 100% embellished, but I liked it. It was funny.
Think so? You think
yeah.
Which part? When he was just a horn dog and... and what is he like? What's Sedaris here? Sedaris is like 12 or something, and he's being.
I mean, that's my point. Is like when I look back at my piano teacher, he wore like an ascot, had multiple earrings.
Was he a pirate? You just
yes, exactly. So that's my whole point. I'm describing
Steve the pirate.
I would do my scales wrong, and he'd be like, "This fucking kid's the worst piece of shit ever." But that's me embellishing a story of me remembering it. Realistically, he was probably really, really nice, Just so he was just like, I'm so good at piano that I don't understand why you suck at it. Nonetheless.
Yeah, if Sedaris is writing stories about his childhood when he's between the ages of 10 and 14, there's dialogue in there that he's writing. There's no way that's accurate. But he's trying to tell a story and also come to a point at the end of it, which, not a big political point, but almost like the end of a joke or something like that. So, obviously those are made up, and something may have happened to him on a train with a couple from the U.S. I've been in foreign countries and seen some Americans there, and I would believe it that they do act as if, but I just don't care that much if it's not necessarily like word for word the truth. It doesn't matter to me, and I don't expect it, honestly. Who has that kind of memory? It's not like he's running home and journaling immediately. Oh my god, I gotta get this on paper. What else do you have for stock down?
Last one, it's kind of a two-parter though. Speaking French and being relatable, stock down. So speaking French kind of sucks. I thought it was like 4 chapters worth, but then I was reviewing the chapters. It's the whole part 2 is like him trying to learn French. He does like the whole chapter on like the genders of French, and I was like, I'm not going to lie to you, I barely understand English. So when you're talking about how like adverbs are hard there, I'm like, I don't know what that is. Like, I don't know any of that shit. Like, I don't know any of those rules. So, and that kind of goes right into my being relatable stuff. It's just hard to relate to this book because he's one, very, very smart, obviously, very, very artsy, but he's talking about how like going to fancy dinners and people not eating the right food and spending half the year in France and like going to the movies all day instead of working. I'm like, who is this for? Like, what the? He's like complaining about these things. I'm like, bro, you're living literally the dream right now. What is going on? And he's like, can you imagine how hard it is to speak French though? And I'm like, that's your struggle? You know what I mean?
Fair
Like,
take.
a lot of this stuff is not super relatable, which also makes it tough. And I had this in my hate too, is like, you know, I'm a big guy, fan of self-deprecation. Like,
huge. The biggest.
But imagine like Conan, who I think is the epitome or the best person ever at doing it, being super mean to everyone all the time and then also turning on self-deprecate. It's like, it doesn't work. You know what I mean? Like, the only way you can be self-deprecating is if you're genuine and nice, and then you make fun of yourself because people are like, that's funny. But if you're just like a dickhead and then you're like, but I'm such a, you know, whatever, which he kind of does a lot. He's like shitting on tons of people, and then he's like, but then I wasn't smart at stuff, and you're like, well, I'm not really gonna feel bad for you now because you've just been shitting on everyone else. You know what I mean?
Well, self-deprecators you're not looking for sympathy, right?
No, you're looking for a laugh,
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's not as funny because you don't think it's genuine. I think Conan deep down is like saying things that he's heard or believes and things like that, and he's turning it to make it funny for himself, like, or to other people. So it's like a shield, right? You're like using it as armor for the benefit of everyone else instead of, but like he's like kind of projecting hate towards everyone and then pretending like, but also I'm insecure, and it's like, all right, well, you're not doing it the nice way, I don't think. I don't know.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Sense?
It does.
Okay.
It does.
I guess Ellen would be a good example. Like, Ellen does like the goofy stuff, and everyone's like, oh, she's so like nice and genuine. And then you realize she's a huge like bitch to everyone, and you're like, oh, well, now
this is just
it
a
looks
bit. It's like a whole shtick.
Yeah, you're like, you're not even, this is all fake, you know?
Yeah.
And it wasn't that funny to begin with, and now it's definitely not funny, so.
For the France stuff, you didn't like his story when he compared his childhood to Hugh's childhood growing up in Africa?
That was good, yeah.
That was like, what the hell? He's like, it was crazy. And then he gets to the dead guy hanging, and he's just like, he stared at him for a while.
I missed that when he was describing that childhood. I was like, is this a fever dream? What is going on with this story? Yeah. I didn't realize he was telling the childhood of, what was his partner's name? Yeah. So I was like, what?
What about the last one with his dad and what he eats?
I don't remember that one.
It's actually my next stock down, so I'll just go for it. Yeah, stock down expiration dates on food. Stock down. Because the last story he tells, I'll eat what he's wearing, is about his dad who will just eat anything. He'd put a couple of jelly beans in his pocket and then like years later would find them, but it was actually ended up being like lint or something that he would just eat it.
Jesus Christ.
There's like no expiration dates ever on anything and would just go for it. So I thought it was hilarious, but also secretly respect it, but I don't want to be part of it. You know what I mean? Like, if this happened, I'm laughing at that guy, but if he was to make me dinner, I'd say, I'm sorry, I can't possibly eat that. But yeah, it's if you're never sick from it, then good for you, because obviously you've created a gut of steel.
Well, I grew up, I don't know about you, but I never once heard expiration date sent in my household. Like, that was not a thing. It was like you put it in the freezer once it potentially go bad, and then you bring it back out when you want to use it, reuse it, and don't worry about anything. I don't care how old it is. There's no expiration date in this household.
Yeah, I don't remember it being a thing for sure. I think I cook a lot now, so I just get, that's the kind of content that I consume. So I understand that. Expiration dates are also a bunch of bullshit. Like for eggs or something like that.
I've been trying to tell Ellie, but she won't listen to me. But go on.
Eggs,
Yes,
totally never, like, will probably never go bad if they're in your if you're in your fridge. But yeah, probably never. And you can also like kind of do a test where you put them in a bowl, and if they float, they're bad.
I've heard that. Yeah,
but even then, they're probably fine, honestly. So eggs don't expire. Yogurt literally never expires. If there's mold, sure, and that's usually only because you're using a spoon that you licked, or you're using a spoon that you used for something else. But if you just only touch the yogurt, like, that's probably never going bad. It's a fermented product, so you're probably good there. But yeah, it's funny because my sister will go. We go to my mom's every summer, and my sister's a little neurotic, we'll say, and my mom will have all this stuff, all this stuff for the kids, But there's other grandkids that come in and out of the house. Like, who knows when it was bought? There's 2 fridges, you know, who knows, whatever the case is. But it'll be an apple juice box, and it'll have expired last month or last week. And she'll be like, nope, my kids are not drinking that. This is a freaking apple. It's a juicy juice.
They're going to be sick all the time growing up.
There's never...
You need some of those, you know, those micro whatever called. Yeah, you need that. You need that stuff.
Yeah. What's Ellie throwing out? What's her deal?
She'll throw out like honey mustard that's expired 6 months. I'm like, I've been eating this.
Condiments don't matter.
Yeah, I'm like, I've been eating this for the last 6 months. It tastes fine.
Honey and mustard, those are both mustard's fermented and honey is all sugar. Anything that's all sugar, it's hard to go bad.
And then like meat in the refrigerator for more than like 3 days. She's like, yeah, we got to get rid of that. I'm like,
cooked meat or uncooked meat?
Yes.
Both. Got it. Well,
yeah.
I mean, when it comes to raw meat, it's really about the smell test. You know, you give it the old smell
I think
test.
It's everything. It's like milk. Like I've drank milk that's 3 weeks expired, and I've also drank milk that's 1 week unexpired, and the one that's 1 week is unexpired. I'm like, holy shit, this is terrible, and I pour it out. You know?
Yeah. Well, that's another one. Depends. Heavy cream. It's ultra pasteurized. That will literally never go bad. Buttermilk will never go bad. Milk is actually very dependent. That's why you can't trust an expiration date for milk, because it's very dependent on where you put it in your fridge and how often you're opening your fridge, how often you're leaving it out.
I like this science discussion we got going here.
Yeah, milk's more about temperature change. So never store your milk sense. For people there. Never store your milk in the door of your fridge unless you're going through it pretty quickly.
That's where it's on right now. It's good to know.
But you seem like the kind of guy who has milk with dinner.
I used to drink milk. I used to crush milk. I used to absolutely demolish milk. And now I use it mostly for like putting in tea or cereal and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. We go through a lot of milk here, but we had an 18-month-old.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Last one, stalk down parents pushing you to play an instrument. So we've talked about the little person and him, the little person is his music instructor, and him being David Sedaris. His dad liked jazz and so wanted to turn his kids into a jazz troupe. So what did David pick? The guitar. He played the guitar. He had to name it something, and he wanted to name it like Oliver. It's like name your guitar after something hot. He's like, Oliver? Something you love, Oliver? But it got me thinking of when I was a kid and my mom encouraged us to take music stuff, and I like listening to music. Hate playing it. I just don't have it. Don't have that ability. Not in me. Very jealous of those that do. Wish I could. But we had to pick one. I was a big Simpsons fan at the time. So, I mean, still am, I guess. But Lisa played the saxophone. Had to be in 4th grade to play the saxophone. So you had to start with the clarinet. I picked up that clarinet and I was like, this is terrible. So I used to have to hide my music book so that she couldn't find it and I couldn't find it, and play dumb so that I couldn't go to class and take my music classes.
Smart.
Yeah.
Nice.
Bottom of the hamper. That's the number one spot. Bottom of the laundry hamper. But you said that you played piano, right? Your mom, was that at your own volition, or was that pushed upon you?
I wanted to quit every year, every time I went. But my parents were like, when you grow older, you'll appreciate us that we put it, which I do. I did actually appreciate. Oh, I really like piano songs now, which I don't know if it was because I played piano a little bit.
What do you mean? You like go to Howl at the Moon and listen to dueling pianos, and you're like,
any song that's piano based, I like better than like guitar based, I would say.
Can you play the piano?
No, I'm terrible.
But can you play chopsticks?
No, this is the story I always tell is I've been practicing for 5 years, and then we would do recitals. Every recital I fucked up, every single one. I never had a perfect, like, you know how like, and it's so obvious when you're that bad.
Like missed a note or just totally screwed up?
Well, like it's when you're playing like do 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 do, it's like very obvious. But it's like it's harder to tell. So like, you know, basically my songs are harder and easier to fuck up is what I'm saying. But anyways, I'm playing probably the most basic thing ever. This is 5 years in. The next person comes up that's like 1st grade, I'm in 5th grade, and plays something 10 times harder than me, and I just watched them. They perfected it. I said, I don't think piano's for me. It's like, I don't know if I can do this.
Were you allowed to leave?
Yeah. What's that?
The piano, were your parents like, okay, you don't have to do it anymore?
Yeah, once I got to middle school, they're like, all right, this guy. I think they also saw that recital and were like, yikes.
I just picture your dad with the video recorder and your mom reaching over and just like pushing it down, being like, don't do it.
We don't want to record this.
Do not record this.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Mine was like a year or season or whatever the case was. So it wasn't going to work for me.
You didn't have to work it out. Yeah.
No.
I mean, if they had us playing Tool, I'd be fucking still playing piano. That's the fact of the matter. You know what I mean? But they're having us playing like Beethoven's like Sixth Concerto or whatever.
I always wonder that with music classes, and they probably do it differently nowadays, but it was the same kind of thing in school. Why didn't they grab something that the kids liked at the time and do it? It doesn't matter what it is. Just do it, you know? It's something that's actually
they read like Harry Potter in school now, which I'm like, imagine if you read Harry, I'd be fucking crushing books all of a sudden.
Yeah, which we hired someone recently. We hired someone recently and she said she'd never seen the Harry Potter movies or Harry Potter books. And I was like, how did you get past the interview process?
Get the fuck out.
I don't understand.
Leave right now.
Did you have a favorite of the short stories? A favorite one?
Yeah, I think I referenced it. Is it the animal one? I don't know. He read that out loud, and I just thought it was a lot of jokes in it. I thought it was like dark.
That's the
funny.
euthanasia one, right? When he's talking about how they buried all of his animals or something like that.
Yeah, there was like callbacks in it. It was right up my alley, comedy wise. So I was like, all right, that was when I was like, this book I think is gonna actually start picking up now. And then it went back to him being like, and then we went to France, and I didn't know the adjective. I was like, God damn it.
Yeah. David recounts his childhood pets and their demises. Yeah, it's all about his pets dying. But yeah, that's that was enjoyable. I think didn't his mom like put one in the oven or something like that? Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
None of them were this is amazing. I did like the little person music teacher one. I just thought that was kind of funny how much of a horn dog he was. And then Sedaris says something that's not even like a pass at him, which is also creepy because he's a child and this is a grown man. And I know, grown man. But and he makes a pass at him, but the guy's like, I don't swing that way. It's like, this is a child. What do you think he's actually making like a pass at you? What? It's so confusing. I did enjoy, this one also seemed kind of fake, but I did enjoy when his friend came to New York and brought her crazy girlfriend. And
that one seemed real actually for some reason. Okay. I was like, I know these people.
You do.
Yeah.
I like the fat suit one. It made me laugh. That one was really probably my most enjoyable moment was the idea of the fat suit. I don't know why. It just gets me. It's just fat suits just.
I just felt bad for his dad. I was like, man, he's really shitting on his dad here.
Which makes sense why they didn't want to go forward with the movie. Yeah. It's like,
well, I mean, the movie probably would have made. I mean, you're not going to make the dad unless he's like a villain to look like that much of an asshole. Like you just wouldn't do that. That's why it's weird to have it in a book like that.
Yeah, at the end of the day, he cares about his kids. He just does it in his own way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He wants his kids to be skinny, maybe because he's got some vanity or whatever the case is. Fine. He wants his kids to learn an instrument so that they can.
He's also assuming these things, which is not like, you know what I mean? Like, so that's why I'm like, he's kind of painting him in a bad light here.
Yeah. Well, he did say like you're going to need a boyfriend or something.
Oh, well, I mean, I think that's just dad talk though. I mean, especially like we're talking about 80s dads. Like, come on, or 70s dads. Like, this is like that's not like is that really that bad? But I don't know. I feel like he was painting him in the worst. If he sent him to his kids to like fat camp, then I'm like, all right, now it's open. Now it's open for jokes. But if you're like, make one comment, it's like, yeah, my dad was a piece of shit. He thought all my sisters needed to lose weight. He didn't give a shit about anything but their looks. I'm like, holy shit.
Mm-hmm. What about loves? What'd you love about Me Talk Pretty One Day?
I thought all the stories, I already mentioned, live audience was great. He just really got into them. And then I wrote one I liked, the one ending in the computer one. I don't remember what that one was, but I like that ending. I don't remember what story that was.
I don't either. Wait, wasn't that the one where he like goes to his someone keeps sending him an email with like a website that was like cake farts or something? I don't.
Maybe that's the one I like.
Yeah. Okay.
I like that he refused to, or he just changed all of the words so that he didn't have any S's in them to spite
Genius,
his teacher.
Really.
Yeah, I love that.
He said his vocabulary got a lot better because he just had to find other words for it.
Yeah, no, that's I appreciate that a lot. And then I did like the first half. The first half was his childhood stories. Again, this is more like about being relatable and like, you know, I think there was a lot more humor in that than like, in France, it's funny that like something is masculine form versus feminine form.
Yeah, it's like then I had to buy all the carrots because I didn't know that they were.
Yeah, I was like, all right, that's made up also. So you can't just point to something and say I'll have like one. Like, come on. So yeah, I like that. And I guess the last thing. Oh, I do also think that I do see his influences on other writers. I feel like he's definitely this style has definitely been adapted or used, from a lot of other people. So I thought that was
maybe
kinda
even
interesting.
the aforementioned like Project Hail Mary, like all of his
Yeah,
books
yeah,
with the first person, monologue to the camera kind of thing.
yeah.
It's pretty. Yeah, their diary entries is basically what they are, right? In The Martian and Project Hail Mary, and the other one we don't speak about. Yeah, I loved the first half for sure. I liked it more than the France stuff. When he's talking about growing up as a gay boy, and when asked what he wanted to be growing up, instead he would answer who he wanted to sleep with when he grew up, and he was like a policeman, a fireman, or one of those guys who works on high tension wires. Like, that's good. That's good stuff. The things I did like about the France stuff was probably just when he was in the class with all those other people and they had to talk about holidays, and there was the Moroccan woman who didn't understand Easter. She's like, wait, there's a bunny? What's going on? And you're explaining to her, but you're also explaining to her in a foreign language, and it's both of your second languages, but your first languages are different, so it just must be confusing. And then it got me thinking that without knowing if any of this holiday stuff, and people started explaining, oh, there's a giant bunny who comes in your house and leaves a basket of chocolates, it'd be very confusing. The whole thing sounds very absurd. And it's like, oh, what is this to celebrate? Oh, the resurrection of Jesus Christ. What? How did it made me want to like look up what the hell, like why that is a thing.
Yeah, probably some lost translation that's like, yeah, so he's risen, and they're like, and the word for risen was bunny or something. They're like, oh, bunny comes and and then just adapted from there. Maybe, I don't know.
Greek Orthodox, because he's also Greek, and they talk about Greek Easter, which I have some friends who are Greek and celebrate Greek Easter, which they roast a lamb, which is phenomenal, by the way. Nice roasted lamb. But it always got me wondering, because Jesus is the Lamb of God, so you just cook a lamb because of that? Or is there a different reason we're cooking lambs?
We're killing him again?
Yeah, like because he died, we're just going to kill another lamb? I don't know. Don't really get it. But
Okay.
but yeah.
That was to celebrate the first time you can eat meat or something, right?
Oh, it could be the end of Lent.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you eat a lamb of God. Got it. Okay, sure, why not? What about hates? What'd you hate?
I think I kind of went over most I think just probably not my type of comedy, and it was just like I didn't relate to it super well. I think the kid stuff was good. Mm-hmm. I don't want to beat a dead horse here.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. I didn't necessarily hate anything.
Yeah.
It's a collection of short stories, so some are going to be good, some are going to be bad. That's just the way it is. For listener mail / Goodreads review of the week, I have to... Goodreads this is the best Goodreads book thread I've ever seen. So if you just want to be entertained, go through it. It seems like there's a lot of clouded minds out there, just people that maybe aren't so accepting of other people. It's just every single review had to reference that he was gay, and yeah, I understand.
It's not really even talked about very much.
Exactly. Like, I understand it's referenced once or twice in here, but it's not like a thing. It's not like this is a book about being gay or something. But we got Carrie from Goodreads. She says, if I were in someone else's bathroom and there was no other reading materials except for something by David Sedaris, I would pick it up and flip through it. I probably would even find myself slightly amused. But my basic opinion about David Sedaris, which is that he is a boring, not very funny, mean and bitchy, and too lazy to write a novel, would remain unchanged. It's like, wait, so you'd pick it up, you'd flip through it, you'd enjoy it?
Yeah, I don't really get what?
You find yourself amused, but he's boring, not funny, mean, bitchy, and too lazy to write a novel.
This is the opposite of toilet humor, so that's why the analogy to me doesn't make any sense.
And too lazy to write a novel is a hilarious take to just throw on someone. The guy is a prolific writer and orator. What are you talking about? What are you doing, person? Talk about casting the first stone or whatever the case is. This is whatever. But there's a lot of these takes. There's a lot of these takes in there. One that's like a 1 star, maybe a 2 star, and the guy's like, I loved the book. Great book. Love David Sedaris. Next paragraph. My mom went to a book signing and he was mean to her. So 2 stars. What? Yeah, wild.
All right. Actually, I respect that guy. That's spite. I'm fine with the spite review. Honestly, yeah, I'm okay with that one. Yeah, that's fine.
Likes the book, hate the man.
Yeah,
2 stars.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
He's also an artist. I think most artists are kind of terrible people. So I think you just gotta go take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
I don't think that's proven. I don't think that's a take even.
Most artists are terrible people.
Most great artists, let me put it that way.
Okay. Most great artists.
Name me like an artist that's, you know what, that person's like a really good person.
Michelangelo seemed like quite the guy.
Wasn't he a psychopath? Or no,
what
what am I thinking of?
He's
got to cut his ear off.
Oh, that's Van Gogh.
Yeah, he
had like severe depression or something like that. He had issues. He wasn't a terrible person.
Well, I shouldn't say terrible person. They're all, what's artists, suffering artists and things like that. So they're all stuff going on with them. Chapel Roan's getting dragged to the mud. I'm like, who cares? She's good at singing. Who gives a shit if she's not a nice person? What does it matter?
Yeah, I do always find that funny when we hold celebrities to be the best of people or something along those lines. Like what? They're just people who are good at one thing. Like we should just enjoy that thing they're good at. Why do they have?
Right. Yeah.
Why are you asking them about the war in Iran?
Well, the best is Chappelle's bit on. Does anyone know what Ja Rule thinks of this? Because they cut to Ja Rule after 9/11. You ever heard that bit before?
No.
They're on like MTV and like 9/11 just happened. We're gonna bring Ja Rule in, who's like a New York native, and like talk about it. And like so he was talking about how any like tragedy happens, or like, does anyone know what Ja Rule's thinking right now? Get him on the line. Yeah.
All right. Well, Keith, who's the book for, and what do you rate it?
I think it's for maybe the upper echelon of comedy fans, people that like some short stories. Yeah, a little bit highbrow.
People read this in school,
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was like
okay.
Maybe not this one, but one of them was definitely for one of the English classes was required reading.
So, I think there was definitely some fun stories or some that weren't so fun. I think I would probably pick up I already mentioned like a Slaughterhouse-Five or some other book that's more up my speed if I'm looking for the dark humor angle. So I give it a 3 out of 5. I think it was still solid. I didn't hate the whole time. I enjoyed being there. It was short. No qualms, but reviewing it, I started like kind of downgrade things as I started to think about it.
I think 3 out of 5 is a very good number considering what the words that came out of your mouth were. But I also gave it a 3 stars, 3 out of 5. I think it's totally fine. It's for someone that goes into someone's house and they're sitting there on a leather chair in a living room. Maybe, you're at your girlfriend's parents' house or something like that. You don't want to just like sit on your phone, and you see a book like this in the bookcase next to you. You pull it out because you can read one little story, or you can catch a couple of lines, and you're like, oh, that's fine. I'm not going to pick up most books in a bookcase, honestly, ever. We have a bookcase here. It's got phenomenal books on it that I've all read. I've never touched any of them. Never. It's just that's the way bookcases are. They're more for show, to show other people that you're smart. But I would pick this book up and read a couple pages. Or if it was in someone's bathroom, this is a great bathroom book.
Oh, I just said it wasn't bathroom humor, but damn it, yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's a great bathroom book.
Yeah, no, I also think that if it would get a higher rating if it were I think that he did disservice not reading it better as an audiobook.
If they were all live performances.
Yeah, I think it would have been way better. Huh. Yeah.
Good take. All right, well, what are we coming up next?
We have the famous 1984 by George Orwell. So jump on it. It's a typical high school reading book, although I didn't read it in high school, but
no, neither did I.
A lot of schools read it. So jump on in. Water's warm.
Yeah. And then what's after that? We get Joe Abercrombie?
Yep. The second book, Before They Are Hanged by Joe Abercrombie. That one's a little bit longer if you want to pick that up and get into book 2, which is, so far I started this, I do not remember anything. I did a full review of, I listened to a full summary, and I was like, all right, I think I kind of know what happened, and then I jumped into this, and I'm like, what's going on? I have no idea.
That's with the Nine Fingers guy?
Yeah, so we'll see.
Cool. Well, I'll see you for 1984 then.
Alrighty.
All right. Bye now.
Bye now.